Oh, guys, self-awareness is hard. Can we admit that? Can we admit how difficult that is as human beings? I don't know that I know of anybody more unaware of what's around them than Luke Rockhold. Luke made this week fun. Luke made tonight fun. When you talk about the greatest middleweights of all time, now anytime we have that conversation, we never have that, do we? We say we're having it. We're saying we're having the greatest of all time. We never do. We have a resume conversation in all sports. I mean, I heard this many years ago between well, who's that dork with the Lakers? LeBron versus that other nerd, Jordan. But it was never about who could get inside. It never about who could score more three-pointers. It was never about who could do more assists or rebounds. It was about Jordan had won 6 championships and LeBron had won 3. I realize those numbers have changed, but I'm sure this was always the conversation, and therefore Jordan was better. So it's one of these things. We always start comparing resumes. You want to talk about who the absolute greatest, which you're having a conversation. You're talking about who the greatest ever is. You're having a conversation of all the guys at middleweight in the upper echelon on their single greatest night. Had they met up with anybody else, who would have won? And I'm telling, if you want to have who the greatest middleweight of all time is, it might be Luke Rockhold. Truly. The Luke Rockhold that defeated Chris Weidman. I'm not convinced there has been a middleweight yet that can beat him. And maybe there is. I'm telling you, I'm not convinced. That's how good Luke is. When I talk about Luke not being aware, Luke's never been a higher demand. Luke is a star. Luke was a star coming into tonight. Luke arguably was the biggest star on the card. He got more questions at the press conference. He commanded more time at the media. That's a damn good focus group. You get everybody else up there. Who's getting the attention, right? It's one of those things. He might be. I would never be more excited to hear from Luke, to see from Luke, to get to know Luke, and to watch Luke than I am tonight. He doesn't know. He didn't know it was a great performance. He retired. We have to take that back. There's never a time we wanted to see Luke more. He was exhausted. You know, when you get exhausted, guys, there's things that can happen, but you've heard this expression. I won't act like it's my own. I'm just pointing it. Fatigue makes a coward out of all men. It's very true. No matter how tough you are, when you're exhausted, you are now vulnerable and you are frightened. You become a coward. Luke was exhausted, which, by the way, can happen for many reasons that have nothing to do with your preparation, believe it or not. That have nothing to do with your diet and how serious you took the match, how many hours of sleep that you got, how much you listened to your coaches, and how much road work you went. There's things that can happen, particularly when you're at elevation. There's just things. There's moments and there's scrambles that can just take it out of you. So whatever happened to Luke tonight, I don't know, but it happened in the first round. Not at the end of the first round. You saw him tired at the end of the first round. It had happened prior to that. He just hadn't shown it. So he now has 2 more rounds with a guy that's called the Terminator. And Luke stood his ground. If there was fighting to be done, Luke was fighting. If there was a scramble to be had, no matter how tired he was scrambling. If there was a punch to be slipped or to be eaten or to be thrown, he was doing it, and he was doing it with full power. Luke Rockhold was awesome. He was awesome tonight. Paulo Costa was supposed to win. He's the younger guy. He's the more excited. He showed up to the press conference a little happier. He's betting on himself. His contract's up. He's got an avalanche of pressure. Stealing that phrase from John Anik, you got Rockhold says, I don't care if I ever do it again. I mean, in fairness, Luke put himself in a great position, took all the pressure off himself. Luke did it great. Everything was great. It truly was, including the fight, including the performance, including the highlight, smearing his blood on him, and it was disgusting, and it was incredible TV. It truly was. If you go back and you rewatch that on slow motion, don't just look at what Luke was doing. Make sure you watch Paulo Costa, because Paulo got it, and he smiled. Okay, I mean, this was a great moment, guys. That's as close as those two are ever going to come to bonding. Like, Luke's not going to send out a tweet tomorrow and thank Paulo Costa. It's not going to happen. Luke's going to live the gimmick all the way to the end. And Luke has never been wanted. They never wanted him as much. He had a standing ovation. It was an absolute incredible night. Whatever Luke does next would be a huge, I don't think he should retire. I don't think he felt good. I think he judged himself on that. I don't think he's aware of how much he pushed through. I don't think he's aware of his output. I don't think he knows how many times he hurt Paulo. I don't think he knows about all the takedowns that he stuffed, how many times he scrambled and got up off the bottom. The way the crowd was responding. Oh, and not to mention you dealt with something in the first round. That was something that created a fatigue, created exhaustion. He never backed down. I didn't know Luke was that tough. I really didn't. I knew Luke was good. Luke on the ground is something else. Go back, look at Luke's record. Go to SureDog right now, pull it up. You'll be stunned how many submissions there are. He submitted Michael Bisping. Who does that? He dominated Tim Kennedy for 5 rounds. He submitted Lyoto Machida. This is off the top of my head. This guy's incredible. Truly an incredible. I knew all those things about him. That isn't new to me. He's long. He uses that left kick well. He's got a good cross. I know all of these things. Being dog tough, he's out there. Something's wrong with his shin. I don't know what it is. To the point that he had to go to the commission and get a special wrap. I'd imagine there was an open sore or something like that. That was the number one weapon that he used. He used his hurt leg. We're going to take this back. We have got to take this back. Luke said that he's old. He just went 15 minutes with a guy they call the Terminator. There's nothing old about Luke Rockhold. He was at elevation. He got tired. He fought a damn good fighter. So what? Luke's attempting to resign. We don't accept it, Luke. We don't accept your resignation. You still work here.